Would you say it's kind of an awkward coincidence that they sign this insane deal with Adidas for 300 million, and then all of a sudden we get a report that says, "Oh, James Franklin's being bought out for $56 million to leave." It's episode 291 of Empty the Bench here on the Empty the Bench podcast network, presented by Playback. He's Zain Bando. I'm Nick Morgasen. Follow us on social media for Empty the Bench at ETB Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ETB Sports. Follow the Empty the Bench podcast network at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. We just crossed over the 1,030 subscriber mark and continuing to grow, so please go over there. If you can't watch on the video side, listen to Empty the Bench wherever you get your podcast on your favorite audio podcasting platform. And Empty the Bench is presented by Playback, playback.tv/ETB Network. MLB playoffs. We just got done with the WNBA finals. The NBA will be coming back soon. NFL Red Zone, which we've been doing as well. You'll hear more about that later on in the show. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a very busy last couple weeks and a busy last few months on the Playback front, so stay tuned for that midway through the show.
Yeah, so big show, a lot to get to this week. A coaching firing in college football, which is not shocking, but again, it kind of woke up the college football world a little bit, which we will get into.
You know, it's a big firing when NBC News is reporting on it. That's how you know. That's how you know it's a pretty big firing.
Yeah, that was a big one. Also, how Adidas was possibly involved, which that whole story is wild. We will get into it. Illinois loses to OSU. Not surprising in your way, shape, or form.
No, not surprising. But being there in person to watch the number one team in the nation was something pretty special. And I'm just going to say it right here, right now, on Wednesday, October 15th, at the time that this is coming out, that I would be very surprised if Ohio State does not make it back to the national championship. That's how good I think they look at the moment.
I mean, I think you're more angry over a certain AP poll.
I sure am, which we'll get into later on when we talk about week 7 that was college football.
Yeah. Also, Dana White calling BS again. I literally was just saying this to you before we started recording. Why do people keep bringing up that they're having negotiations for the White House card? We'll get into that in a little bit. Obviously, baseball is now in the ALCS League Championship round. So we'll break all of that down. The latest on the Bill Belichick drama. NFL Week 6. We'll give you Thursday Night Football, and we'll get out of here for the day. But since we got a lot to get into, let's get right to it. James Franklin fired by Penn State. A lot of news surrounding this. Obviously, did not help that he had two massive losses to UCLA and Northwestern, both where they were 20-point plus favorites in those games. And what you said to me, it was the first time that somebody lost to two overwhelming favorites.
First time ever in apparently the history of college football that two 20-plus point underdogs won. Well, two separate ones 2 weeks in a row against the same team.
So this story, it's not just like your typical firing, which you and I were talking about.
This is a catastrophic, like super sad ending to a stint that was relatively pretty impressive. I mean, it was, I think, 9 bowl games for James Franklin is what it was. He won a Big Ten championship. They were 2 passes away from going to the national championship back in January, which is the most staggering part about this whole thing. And then, of course, we'll get into this angle more in a little bit, but losing your quarterback for the year to a leg injury doesn't help either. And then there was just a lot of baggage. I mean, it's simple. He was known as Big Game James for a reason, and it was more so known as a joke that whenever the big games would come up, Penn State would always find a way to lose them. And then now the running joke is that Penn State can't even get ready for the little games either. So I don't know. This is a very, I can say this. There are people that I know. Well, there are a few people that I know that went to Penn State, and more people I know are satisfied with this firing than people who aren't. I'm just going to be blunt and say this. I think I guess in my not generation, but in all my years of watching college football, he is to me one of the greatest coaches I've ever seen that hasn't won a national title. And it's not like he was going to win a national title this year because of the way Penn State started off its season, but at the very least, I thought a midseason firing was extremely surprising. I figured it could be coming soon. I didn't know it'd be coming this fast, and I think you probably fired him at the worst possible time because the schedule only gets tougher, and now you have a back quarterback in there for the remainder of the season, to where even going to a bowl game is more so an uphill battle than maybe what it was a couple weeks ago. I mean, losing to UCLA is one thing, but to lose to a Northwestern team that had no business at the beginning of the year even competing with Tulane, that was their opening season opponent, and then to go into State College where you hadn't won a game there in over a decade and to win the game in the way Northwestern did was, I think, the most shocking part about this entire debacle. And then to get fired literally less than a day after one of the worst losses in recent program history was, to me, just shocking. And now obviously they didn't hire from within, but the interim coach Terry Smith is now going to take over for the remainder of the year. And I don't know. He even admitted in his press conference on Monday that he was shocked and taken aback that Franklin was even fired. So it's clear that the building itself has not fully taken this in, and why should they? This was all shocking to everyone. But in Pat Kraft's words, the AD, they pulled themselves to an extremely high standard, and they just felt like it was time for both parties to move on. The part that's the most shocking, and we'll get to this next, is just the terms of this whole thing not really being disclosed at all. And I don't know. I just feel like there really wasn't fully closure. I thought, that press conference was going to be the last time that James Franklin was going to be allowed to speak to the media. He didn't speak to the media at all. He was just abruptly fired. That was the part that I thought was the most shocking out of all of it.
Well, let's get into. I mean, there's a couple sides to this. One is the football, and one is the off the field, the contract, the buyouts. Now, this is not the highest buyout in the history of college football. Jimbo Fisher was the highest buyout in all of college football. I think that was Texas A&M, $76 million.
Yeah,
I think
that sounds right.
Which, by the way, people were stunned, if I remember correctly, when Jimbo was fired and walked away with $76 million. But this takes the cake right behind it. So $56 million in a buyout, which he will get fully. By the way, I see these jokes going around on social media that the best job you could have is being a college football coach that gets fired, because basically you can walk away with all your buyout money and not have to worry about life ever again. That's
exactly what Brett Bielema did when he was fired at Arkansas.
Did he walk away with a lot?
Yeah, he walked away with tons of money back then. Yeah.
So he probably doesn't even care at this point. I mean, let me clarify that. He cares about being a coach and cares about a job, but he probably, to him, this is just secondary, almost, in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why he could be a little free-flowing to the media and whatnot, which I love, by the way. I like the national TV appearances question made me laugh when they asked him that.
No, it was And just as a spoiler alert, he is not a candidate for the Penn State job, considering there's a clause in his contract that says that he'll retire in Illinois. So anybody who's rooting for Bielema to jump ship, that's not happening.
I think I think Brett is happy where he is right now, and I think he just wants consistency in his life.
I think so too.
So,
but there are several Big Ten coaches who may be in consideration. Two of them being Nebraska's Matt Rule, and the other one being Kurt Signetti, which would be unbelievable if he left Indiana. That would be stupid if he did that.
So I don't see Rule leaving Nebraska. I think because I saw some quotes from him earlier that he wants to build something in Nebraska. That was the big thing. He has the podcast. He has a team there. I just don't see him like uprooting
and they're
everything he's done.
Too. They just entered the AP poll. They're number 25.
Yeah, I don't see him leaving. I think he's finally found a good spot after the debacle he had in the NFL.
Yeah, no kidding.
What was that? That was Carolina or no?
Yeah, Carolina.
And he got paid to go away there too. So to be honest, and where was he before that? Was he Baylor coach?
Yeah, and he did really well. He did great.
See, my college knowledge is picking up.
During all that really bad all that like assault stuff that happened, he came in and totally turned it around.
That's right. I totally forgot about that.
He took a Baylor team that was 0-12 and took them to a bowl game in like 2 years.
Which is crazy because getting to a bowl game after a rebuild, it takes like 3 to 4 years.
Oh, sometimes. Yeah, absolutely.
So, but let's get into the other side of this. So let's talk about the buyout, and we got to talk about this. So Adidas denies involvement in firing a buyout. Okay, so you're probably asking yourself, why are we talking about Adidas? So there was the news that came out that Penn State basically dropped its Nike deal and
after like 30 years
and
something crazy.
Correct. And they supposedly, because it's not 100% confirmed, signed a $300 million deal with Adidas. And then there was another weird thing that I want to ask you about too. What is this product allotment slot that apparently the AD got for $500,000? Did you hear about that?
I'm not really sure. What do you think of it?
Well, do you know what it is or no?
Not really, no, to be honest.
But like everyone was like calling out the AD because of like it sounds like a money thing that he's getting, or which by the way, I didn't know ADs get part of a endorsement sponsor deal. Is that news or no?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Now,
yeah, I'd say that's news.
$300 million is a lot of money for. I wouldn't even call this a sponsorship. It's not. It's like a marketing deal or a equipment deal in a sense.
Basically, an equipment deal, from what I understand.
So, a report came out. Now, you said you think this guy is pretty accurate, right? So,
I do. I think both reports are accurate in a sense, because one of them is the initial news, and the other one was a follow up.
Okay. Okay. So this guy, this is how I found it. Was this guy first? So Mike J. Asti, who is a local guy out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's been around a long time.
And he's done some work for Yardbarker, which is awful announcing. He's been on series, so he's got some credibility in the media. So he said, source at Penn State, I've been told that Adidas drove the James Franklin firing and are why it happened the day that it happened. They committed to pay most or all of the money. They also wanted a new coach before recent losses, but they made it hard for anyone at PSU to argue. Okay, so I have a lot of questions. Okay, number one, why are we playing peekaboo and hiding all this? Like,
it's a good question.
So that makes no sense. A $300 million deal doesn't just drop out of the sky.
No, it doesn't.
And then number two, the second part of it, the second part of the first sentence is they committed to supposedly they committed to pay most or all of the money, referring to the buyout. So does that make any sense in your mind whatsoever?
No, it doesn't. And then they come out in the press conference Monday and they say point blank, oh, it's just an athletics issue. That's it.
Really? That's the answer they're going to give?
Yeah, that's what they told the media.
So Esty goes on to write, someone at Penn State reached out to me to say that the decision to fire James Franklin was made by the administration. All right, pedal back. The person did not mention anything about Adidas' influence or the money at all. I know there were people at PSU who wanted him gone, but what I've heard is Adidas helped make that happen that day, and the losses made any pushback impossible. So basically what they're telling you is the $300 million deal helped to pay off the $56 million buyout.
Yeah.
How? Like,
it's a good question.
Like, what do you make of all these pieces between the buyout and the supposed Adidas involvement?
Well, I don't know if you agree, but the one conclusion that I can come to is it was only a matter of time before he was going to get fired.
I mean, this goes back to something I said before, that there's the football side of James Franklin, and then there's the off-field James Franklin. This is off-field, what they're talking about with contracts and money and all this stuff. We said it before we came on here. He would have been fired anyway, just due to bad performance, I think, by the end of the year.
Right, exactly.
And you and I were saying that this is just awkward, the way they did it.
Oh, for sure. And I was even talking on my Zain Zinger Part 2 stream hours before he was fired that I thought he was going to get fired at the end of the year if they didn't make a bowl game. And sure enough, I was a few hours too early.
But would you say it's kind of an awkward coincidence that they signed this insane deal with Adidas for $300 million, and then all of a sudden we get a report that says, "Oh, James Franklin's being bought out for $56 million to leave"?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's very weird.
So the school, and you said it perfectly when we were prepping for the show, that, oh, you really think Penn State's going to admit the fact that they made a deal with Adidas and then they're going to buy it out?
Absolutely not. No way.
So this is a game of chicken. Somebody is wrong here. We don't know who. Who do we think is wrong here?
I think the university's wrong.
So you think they took the money and used part of it to buy out the contract?
Of course.
I agree too. I think they did. They're going to claim they didn't. Now, the other wrinkle to this is Pennsylvania has a law for not revealing contractual obligations. So we're never going to know what the arrangement was in James Franklin's deal or what the contractual arrangements are between Adidas and Penn State.
Right.
So this is all like reckless speculation at this point.
It is.
This reminds me of like how like what's going on in the WNBA right now, that people are claiming that the WNBA is $50 million in the red, but you would have no idea because the WNBA is a private institution.
Right.
So how people are throwing out numbers against the wall thinking it's going to stick.
Right.
And so there's no way to know which way the money was used to get rid of him. Now, if I had to take a wild guess because you know the athletics side better than me, I bet you they didn't have the money to do it with just boosters.
Oh, no way. No way.
So,
because Penn State, I'm going to be honest, Penn State it's a good program, but it isn't what it was under a previous regime, which I don't need to mention. I'm just saying from a historical standpoint, it's not what it used to be.
Well, that era came with flaws too. We know that
No,
all too well.
no. I obviously know that. I'm just saying I don't think it's as revered as what it used to be.
Right. So obviously, and then you found that Adidas denied the involvement. Also, again, I think this is them just saving face. They're never going to admit that they helped.
No, of course not. It's all a PR thing.
This is a giant mess right now for Penn State. And you said the interim coach. I feel bad for him too.
Terry Smith.
Like, what is he supposed to do in this scenario? Because he's going to get hit with all the questions that don't really involve him.
Yeah, that's a good question. And he used to be, well, now he's going to be, I guess now, because he's going to convert himself to it. He was essentially the lead recruiter for James Franklin before James Franklin was fired.
All right, but so he was technically doing it anyway, though.
Mm-hmm.
But who's going to want to go to Penn State? I think I saw the other day that a 2027 top recruit actually decommitted from Penn State.
He sure did. Not just one, but two of them.
But I think this was supposed to be like a top of the top recruit.
I'm aware. He had offers from everywhere.
But it's odd, though, because everything is about recruiting. If you F up as a head coach, your school is basically in purgatory when it comes to recruiting, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, I can attest. There were over, not to transition to make this about Illinois for a second, but there were 30-plus recruits and or committed players who were visiting for the Ohio State game. And now it's going to be interesting to see, because Illinois lost to Ohio State, how many of those guys are going to eventually stay committed or decide to look elsewhere.
Yeah, but wins and losses are different than a head coach being fired and having a totally different expectation.
I know. I'm just saying that even as much as that's true, also wins and losses could drive a recruit's desire to go somewhere else.
No, that's true, and I agree. And if I'm not mistaken, in the new rules that they just put out, also they changed so now that Franklin is out, it used to be 30 days. Now it's 15 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did they do that on purpose so people don't jump from school to school as fast?
Yes, that's why.
There's too many rules, especially with NILs and all that stuff. But this is a huge story, and I
Nick,
think they're
to kind of wrap this up. I mean, looking at the remaining schedule, how many more games do you think Penn State wins?
I actually happen to have the schedule up right here. So,
if you would have told me 3 weeks ago that Northwestern would end Penn State's tenure or end James Franklin's tenure at Penn State, I think I would have laughed. I would have been like, what?
Right. So I look at this. I don't think they're beating Iowa at all.
It's at Iowa too. I don't think they're beating them.
Then they're going to play OSU themselves.
Yeah,
Ohio State,
and it's Penn State against its former defensive coordinator and Jim Knowles.
They're going to get
or excuse me, it's Jim Knowles going back to Ohio State to coach against his old team. It's probably not going to go well.
It's not going to go well. Then they play Indiana. They're going to get trounced by Indiana.
Number 3, so they're really quite good.
And then one of the maybe 2 wins, maybe they'll beat Michigan State.
They should beat Michigan State.
But
Although
don't put it
crazier
past
things
them.
have happened.
And then senior day, they play Nebraska. They're going to get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rutgers, which you're saying they probably should win, but
yeah,
who knows?
They should, but there's no guarantee.
So that's 2 wins out of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 out of 6.
Yeah, which would have to miss a bowl game by 1 game if that happens.
So just blow it up at this point with Penn State. That's where they're at. There's no saving it at this point.
And then last question that I have: Do you think that Penn State tries to take a swing at Kurt Cignetti, or do you think Cignetti stays in Bloomington?
I don't think he should leave. I think he's got a good program where he is. Why would he leave to go pick up the pieces of an explosive organization right now?
I don't think so. And I think he'd get. I think a lot of people outside of Bloomington don't like Signetti, so I think the perception of him would be a little bit strange if he were to go there.
I think people just don't like the fact that Signetti could be a little bit egotistical.
He can.
And
He's very egotistical.
so I think people just don't like the arrogance of Signetti. But that, at the same time, that makes him desirable to a lot of schools because they know he's going to push his teams
Oh
as far
yeah.
as they can go.
Oh yeah.
But if I'm Rule and I'm Signetti, I don't leave because Penn State is, they say how you have to go down first to go back up. They
Yeah.
have to go completely down before they come back up.
I agree.
All right. Since you teased it already, let's talk about Illinois. So, Illinois unranked after losing to Ohio State, which again is not a shocker, right? I mean,
No, it's not. They were supposed to lose, but the issue that I have with this whole thing, and I don't know how much of the game you saw,
I
but
saw some of it.
they,
Yeah.
but you would probably agree to an extent that they didn't play horribly on Saturday, right?
No, they didn't play bad. They
Yeah, I
didn't play
mean,
bad.
when you have three turnovers result in 21 points, those are three plays where if it goes a different way, the game is closer. Illinois wins, right? Then, of course, you have to look at the fact of just the amount of just missed calls in the first half. I think really swung the momentum, especially the now viral pass interference call that should have been an interference where Justin Bowick's jersey was not only tugged and the defender was totally on his back. It made absolutely no sense.
Yeah. I mean,
And I don't understand this too. I mean, Illinois being the first Power Four team to score a touchdown on Ohio State all season in the red zone should say something. And for whatever reason, the AP voters thought, oh, yeah, Illinois. I don't know. I just feel like most of the AP voters didn't watch this game because if they did, I don't think Illinois would be unranked. And the part that I think people are forgetting is so far, Illinois is 5-2, and they lost to the now number 1 and number 3 teams in the country.
but see, but this goes back to what I said last week, which is we're ranking losses over which one, like this loss is better than this loss. It's a loss. It shouldn't matter.
Right.
So who cares which team you lost against? Your record is 5-2. That's where you get reflected. That's where the rankings should be reflected. It shouldn't be, well, I lost to Ohio State. That's a tougher team to lose. Every loss counts the same way, regardless if it's a higher opponent or a lower opponent.
Oh, no, I was just talking in terms of rankings, though.
No. I agree with you. But I'm just saying, I think because we're obsessed over which loss is better than another loss, we're losing track of the fact that wins is what should matter. Not, oh, I lost to Ohio State, and that means that my loss is better than your loss.
And speaking of the rankings, you want to know what the messed up part is?
I'm looking at them now.
USC being ranked number 20, even though Illinois beat them head to head. That makes zero sense. You get why I'm saying that, right?
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, I'm just looking at these teams and again, Notre Dame is 13. They have 2 losses.
Right.
2 losses. Every other team above them is either undefeated or 1 loss. And BYU is 6-0 and they're below Notre Dame.
That's what brand bias is, unfortunately.
What I'm saying is, and I don't mean to go part 2 on my soapbox here, but like a 6-0 team cannot be below the top 10.
No, it can't be. You're right.
You're undefeated. You're telling me that undefeated means nothing anymore.
Essentially.
Like, I'm looking at it. Georgia Tech is 6-0. They are 12. Undefeated teams.
Should be a top 10 team.
Alabama, with a 1 loss, is at the number 6 seed. There are at least 3 undefeated teams below them.
It's insane. There's if you can't tell, this week's poll is a lot of SEC bias.
But look at this. I'm looking. So Alabama 6 seed, 5-1. Oregon 5-1, 8 seed. Georgia 5-1, 9 seed. LSU 5-1, 10 seed. 11 Tennessee 11 seed, 5-1. Then you hit Georgia Tech at number 12, being 6-0.
It's insane, isn't it?
And again, I'm not like you or Will or Nick D, where college football is a religion compared to most sports, but I can look at numbers and tell you that more losses should not be ranked above more wins.
I agree. But you do also agree at the same time that if a team is 5-2 and holds a head-to-head tiebreaker against a ranked team, they should be ranked ahead of that team, right?
They should be, but again, when you have to start ranking losses, that means you're going into the weeds, like way too much.
No, I get it, but don't you agree, though, that if you have a head-to-head win against a team that's ranked, you should be above that team, though?
I mean, you could say that about any sport, though. Like the NFL. Like if your records are tied or close, if you're winning in the head-to-head, of course you would be the higher-ranked team.
Right. That's what it should be the same case here is what I'm trying to get at.
Right. And this is the problem with this system, that because they want from 10 up, when I read you the teams from 10 up, LSU, Georgia, Oregon, Texas Tech, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Indiana, Miami, Ohio State. What you just said, brand bias.
Those are all big-name schools.
And that's what I'm getting at. So where is BYU on a brand bias basis?
Near the bottom, unfortunately.
They're 6-0.
No, I get it. I'm just answering the brand bias part.
No. I'm just pointing that out, though, because I'm trying to point out the fact that they're 6-0. They're a 15 seed, and because it's not big brand enough for college football, the voters are pushing them down.
If it was me, I would have ranked Illinois 22 this week. Who's 22 in the current poll?
Memphis, which is also 6-0.
Yeah, Memphis should be way higher than that.
I'm just looking at the rest. So 23, Utah 5-1, Cincinnati 5-1, 24, Nebraska.
This also doesn't make sense. Nebraska should be ranked ahead of Cincinnati. You want to know why? Nebraska beat Cincinnati week 1. And how do people forget that? If you're going to rank Nebraska, they got to be ranked ahead of Cincinnati.
My message again to the AP poll that determines the voters. You need to have.
This is insanely bad. It's a horrible poll.
I think there needs to be new requirements for being an AP poll voter.
I agree with that.
And one has to be that from now on, you have to submit reasons why you put your votes in for teams ranked in certain places.
For every single team, too.
Every single team. I don't care how long it takes. You want the privilege of being an AP poll voter? Give me every reason why you put a team there.
And I can guarantee you, well, I can do it, but I can guarantee you that most people would not be able to do that.
And here's the other caveat I would add to that.
Okay.
If the reason is not sufficient, then the rank has to be rejected.
I think so, too. And it should be grounds for throwing your ballot out for that week, too.
Now,
if you can't justify 3 separate reasons, in my opinion, your ballot for the week should be thrown out.
I'm not even saying 3. If you could give me at least one legitimate reason for every vote, then fine. But doesn't it make you nuts that Illinois? By the way, the receiving votes thing, Illinois is essentially number 26 because they got 116 receiving votes. Yeah, I see. Well, I see that on the bottom. But you need to give a reason. The AP poll needs to change its logistical reasoning for how they put how they decide the vote. If you can't give me a reason, like Haley Sawyer, who looks like a clown show every time she votes. I forgot what was the joke that she had this time around when you guys did FP5?
I don't remember the exact joke, but it was like,
well, what school did she clown on this week that she got wrong, or last week?
I think she's still at Texas ranked or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Will had a field day, if I remember.
He sure did.
Like, it's idiot voters like Haley Sawyer who make this is why people don't like the AP poll, because you have a bunch of people who vote that have no credibility or factor to prove that they know college football.
I mean, if you think about it, out of all the ballots, there's maybe only 4 that I could trust is legit.
I mean, there's a few like Heather Dinage, I think, votes on there.
Yeah, Dinage, Pete Thamel. Pete Thamel's ballot's usually right.
Well, those are people that cover the sport religiously.
Yeah, I'd trust Nicole Arbach's ballot. If I was a part of the poll system, I would trust my own ballot.
See, the effed up part and I said it last week, like the reason they gave you why you couldn't be a voter, like, who cares if you have season tickets or you buy tickets for a school? Like, who cares?
I agree. They didn't tell me directly. It's just on the FAQ. So
no, but that's giving you a reason regardless. But
right.
Do you realize, and this is probably not breaking any news. I
guarantee you there are people, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I can guarantee you there are people that do not follow that rule and don't admit to it.
Well, you just beat me to a point that I was going to say, and this might be reaching a little, but you don't think there's impermissible benefits going on behind the scenes with tickets?
Of course there are. Are you kidding me?
And that's my point.
Are you kidding me?
That's my point. That's how laughable the statement is. Like, so to say to you, like, hey, first of all, to be considered a booster because you buy tickets, like, is the most asinine statement I've heard from the AP. Like, I don't know if that's the AP or if that's the NCAA.
It's the Associated Press. NCAA has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, because they would just want your money, and then they would say, "Give me a vote." But
right, exactly.
But the AP has no standards. I feel like over the years, like, everyone has this huge trust in the AP, whether it's sports or entertainment or politics or whatever. The AP has become a little bit, I don't know, conflict of interest a little bit over the years.
Heavily.
And for someone like you who follows it religiously, college football, and could probably do a rankings every week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I do have my biases. I'm willing to admit openly who I follow versus who I don't. But at the very least, I can be objective and tell you which teams I feel deserve to be ranked.
Okay, you're not the only one, I bet, if you were in the AP poll that has biases towards a team. Let's just be fair about that.
But at the very least, I can give you fair ballots. You know what I mean?
Right, but I'm saying that you wouldn't be the only one who has allegiances towards the team. Let's be real about that. So
it's true.
The amount of people, and I tried to look up who some of the big voters are on the AP poll, and some of them I can clearly tell you are fans of a certain team.
I without saying his name, I know one of them personally.
And he's a fan of a team?
He covers a team. He's covered the same team for 39 years, I think.
I don't know. I'm just going to leave that one be because we could spend 3 hours on that. But the system is flawed. Speaking of flawed system, Dana White calls total BS on Jones-Pereira White House rumors. Now, explain this to me again. Where you said this was a Brazilian outlet that Pereira was talking to?
Yeah, he did an interview with someone. I don't want to say who it is because I don't want to butcher the name, but he did an interview with someone within the last week where he said that negotiations have already started for him to fight on the White House card against John Jones, presumably, which would mean that Pereira would move up to heavyweight to fight John Jones either for a title or not. It all depends on whatever Tom Aspinall does, but apparently that those discussions had begun, and Dana White saw that on this one Instagram account, Nashar MMA. He's a pretty big Instagram account. He's like a news aggregator, so he posted it, and then he follows Dana White. They followed each other for a while, so Dana sees his posts all the time, and he commented on it that it was total BS and that no negotiations had started for the White House card yet, and that he hadn't spoken to anybody about fighting on the card.
Okay, so this is not the first time we've had this type of scenario go down where, well, Jones did this once before also, didn't he? About the White House card?
He did.
And who else? Oh, Connor said he had a
Connor
signed deal, which is outrageous and stupid.
The media fell for it. Unfortunately, I fell for it too, but I wrote factually in my piece that anything he says should be taken with a grain of salt, and sure enough, I was right about that.
Yeah, you and I thinking the same thing on that. So I'll ask you the question I asked you before when we were talking. What is the motive? Because, and besides headlines, because I already know that, but what is the gain of Pereira, Jones, McGregor saying they have a deal when clearly we know they don't have a deal?
I think it's negotiation leverage. That's what I think.
Right, but isn't there factors involved that like some of these guys still have to be champions, like to get to that card? That card's not until what, June?
June 14th.
Oh yeah, it's Trump's birthday. That's right. But like, it's way too soon for anybody to be disclosing any of this information.
Oh, of course, it's extremely too soon. We don't even know what's happening. We don't even know about some of the major fights at the end of the year, how they're going to play out. So a lot of these fights still have to play out as such before anybody knows anything about what's going to happen on that card.
Well, wouldn't the Aspinall fight be one of those too?
Well, yeah, Aspinall fight's gone in like 10 to 12 days.
So I'm saying that's going to determine some factors and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, and if he somehow loses, the UFC will have to scramble to put a rematch together, or they'll have to do something to try to mitigate the mess, if you will. Because if he loses, it's going to be a total mess. If he loses,
see, and again, because
it's almost like they're rooting for certain narratives to occur.
Okay,
is my thought on it.
You just beat me to the question I was going to ask, which was, should the UFC really be rooting for narratives? I feel like they almost build stories based on who they think is going to win rather than just letting the result happen.
They probably shouldn't, and they admit that they don't, but everybody can see between the lines that they do, and they do it all the time.
Because they clearly need Aspinall for that White House card.
Of course. Absolutely.
Like, not that I'm saying or alleging that the UFC would match fix in any way. Let me be clear about that.
That's never been proven.
But no, I'm saying, let me be clear. That's not what I'm saying here. But
I know.
But it feels weird. Like they're trying to predict the narrative before something happens.
Yeah, it is strange, isn't it?
Because they need Aspinall on that White House card, or else there's going to be a shit show on that White House card if they don't.
Of course.
So,
and they need something to sell to CBS. They need to sell ads.
Right. And by the way, the Jones thing is dumb because Jones is not going to make the card because Jones is in the Dana White doghouse.
No, I don't think I'm going to say it again. I said it weeks ago. I think McGregor has a higher likelihood of competing on that than Jones does.
I mean, we didn't talk about it, but you did it on Outsiders where the news had broke that he had got a doping violation, and which, by the way, nobody knew until a couple weeks ago now, or a week ago now,
a week and a half ago now,
which
just about.
And you said it was retroactive, and I said to you, so was that why he was acting funny when originally he was going to do the fight against Chandler?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's now the real reason as to why the fight didn't happen.
So why didn't the UFC come out and just admit it?
because they were probably worried about the PR shit show that was going to occur.
So you'd rather lie and make it worse.
I mean, I'm not sticking up for them, but in this case, they were wrong. They should have just come out and said it.
Oh no, I'm talking about generally that like them lying made it worse.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because you screwed all those people. You were supposed to have that press conference in Dublin,
Correct.
Ireland.
Yes.
Then they canceled it on like 24 hours notice, and then there were 3 weeks where nobody knew what was going on with the main event. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Pereira steps in to headline it and saves the entire show. And it was just weird. There was no closure. And then remember, after that, there was all this talk like, oh, we're gonna try to make a new date for the fight.
Yes.
And then the new date didn't happen. And it was supposedly going to be moved to December, and then the December date didn't. So it was like they were just dragging this on and on and on and on. They've been dragging this on for 2 years.
To me, it kind of felt like they were trying to make it look like, oh, Pereira saved the day rather than let's reveal the drama type of thing.
Exactly.
Because they knew that if Pereira came in and saved the day, one, it helps him. Two, it helps the UFC. So they'd rather make it look like the day was saved rather than saying, well, Conor fucked up real bad and cost us a bunch of money.
Which I'm sure they lost a ton off that. And I'm sure it's even a year later, it's still hurting them financially.
But here's the effed up part of this whole thing, and then we'll move on from it, is it obviously doesn't bother them that badly because they are willing to go back to the Conor McGregor well, knowing it's going to make them money.
Right.
So obviously, they don't give two shits whether he gets a doping violation or he throws a chair through a bus in Brooklyn.
No, they don't know. They don't care at all.
Or the sexual misconduct violations.
Nope.
Like, by the way, you can tell I'm paying attention now to all this stuff in this world.
No, I'm aware. I'm very impressed.
But like, he shouldn't be getting all these chances, in my opinion.
I'm aware.
But the UFC, in their minds, probably said, all right, 3 horrible things, but if we get him to the UFC White House card, we're going to make a shitload of money on ads because we can promote the hell out of it.
And it's free.
Well, that too. But
right.
My point is they could sell a shitload of ads if they could confirm and say, oh, well, McGregor is taking on, I don't know who he'd be taking on if that happened.
Or Diaz.
I don't know. Would a Diaz fight be sell with him or no?
Oh yeah, because it's 1-1, and it would be 10 years in the making since the second fight.
I mean, I think the Chandler thing is just off the table at this point. I think
so too.
I feel like the UFC almost uses that as a narrative just to build like more and more headlines. Like, oh, the rumor is that they're now going to fight. Okay, this is turning into the...
We've heard this rumor before, guys.
You know what? This is like the boy who cried wolf scenario, or it's Pinocchio and the UFC's nose keeps growing because the fight doesn't keep happening.
Well, and I think that's a great place to end things on that.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's actually talk some baseball since we haven't done that so far. We're in the league championship series. So it's Toronto and Seattle. Seattle won game 1 already as of this recording. Kind of surprised, even though Seattle's had a really good year. Toronto had the best record in the American League. They're the number 1 overall seed. But I just feel Seattle's in a really good spot right now. Their pitching is great.
I do too. I think once they get through these first 2 games and they go back to
Seattle,
the series is going to get interesting.
I mean, if somehow, as of this recording, because game 2 hasn't been played yet, but if they somehow win both games in Toronto and they go back to Seattle up 2-0, like, that's going to be an insane atmosphere in Seattle.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
I expect Toronto to come out a little more angry in game 2.
It will, I think.
But I think that's going to be a great series. But I do think Seattle somehow wins. By the way, first LCS win in game 1 since 2001.
Wow.
24 years since
Wow.
they've been bit to the LCS, and that was the big bad Yankees 2000.
Well, that was the Yankees Diamondbacks World Series, right? Where Arizona won.
Well, so 2000 was the Subway Series. 2000, I think you're right. I think that was 2001. I want to look that up just to make sure I have that right. Yes. Well, the Diamondbacks won that series.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I was just wondering. That was the same year, though, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
That was an incredible year for baseball too. Seattle breaking a wins record. But this is great seeing Seattle play well. I hope they make it to the World Series. Now the other side of things, you have Milwaukee and you have the Dodgers. I don't think there's a single person rooting for the Dodgers except for Dodger fans.
No, I don't
right
think
now.
so either. Although I am one of those people because I can't stand the Brewers as a Cubs fan.
Well, that one makes sense, but I just think no one wants to see the Dodgers in the World Series again.
No.
Like there used to be Yankee fatigue and Yankee hate.
Now there's Dodger fatigue.
It's Dodger fatigue and Dodger hate.
Right.
And how cool would it be to see a Milwaukee Seattle World Series?
That would be amazing.
And you're going to get all the annoying complaints from people
where it's like two small market teams, but as you've alluded to, who cares? We had
it doesn't matter.
Finals.
If it's the best two teams left, which by the way, it would be pretty close to the best two teams left. I think that's going to be a incredible series. Screw the networks.
If it's Brewers, Mariners, I'm just going to say I think the Brewers might win that.
I don't know. I mean, the Brewers.
But then again, we're thinking too far ahead. We get to see how these play out first.
No,
but more so a scenario thing.
But I think the Brewers have just this charisma, like all year, where they're not the biggest, baddest team.
No,
they're not the full power team. They're not
but they're dangerous, and when their pitching is on, they're unstoppable.
Yes, agreed.
And just defensively, they're really good. Game 5, I mean, they took the Cubs offense pretty much out of the shell after Suzuki hit that home. And I mean, the Cubs were never the same after that.
That whole series, by the way, was
and the Cubs blew like 3 chances where the bases were loaded to try to break that open, and they couldn't do it. I mean, that just goes to show how much pitching really can dictate a team in the postseason, and that's what Milwaukee had.
That series, that LDS series was like the battle of the home run, just back and forth. Like
100%.
One team would hit a home run, and then the bottom of the inning, the team would fight back, which was incredible. Like I said, we're doing all these series on Playback, watching all these games. So come watch with us. So all the way up through the World Series. So we are going to have World Series games to watch. All right, let's move forward. This one's more of a quick hit story. Where does Paige Beckers rank among the biggest sports stars in Texas?
I think she's top 3 right now. That's what I think. I think she's elevated herself to that level of superstardom to where, she's been to all these major college football games, specifically the last 2 weeks, TCU, Colorado, and now Red River rivalry. I think if people didn't know Paige Beckers was from a non-WNBA standpoint, they know who she is now.
I mean, her and Caitlin also do a lot of traveling to college to represent their states also.
I mean, you see Caitlin Clark at Iowa Hawkeyes games all the time.
And Sabrina Ionescu also.
Yeah, who went to Oregon. Yeah, absolutely.
They said she was the first woman to be a repeat picker on College Game Day.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she represents better than anybody, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, but I think Beckers is the top 3 sports star in Texas right now. I think her and Cooper Flagg are 2 of the biggest names in the whole state.
I just hope Cooper Flagg performs in the NBA.
I hope so, too, but you mean to tell me that Cooper Flagg and Paige Beckers, both in Texas, doesn't do box office? I mean,
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, they lucked
they're
out.
going to show up, and especially if the Wings get the right head coach moving forward, they should be pretty good.
By the way,
It'll take them a few years to get really good, but trust me, if they can build the foundation, they'll be a good team.
the string of luck to get them both in Texas
Is
drafted.
pretty wild, and both number one overall picks in the respective drafts.
Right, and that's my point. Like, do you know like what kind of dumb luck you need for that?
The probability is absurd, and it somehow happened.
But she's a big star now. Will the WNBA be playing games next year for relevance? Probably not.
I don't know.
That's a whole different issue for another day. All right, moving on. The Belichick drama continues.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep this short and sweet. UNC had a bye week. There's a good chance that even though they didn't play anybody, they probably lost the bye week anyway because that's how North Carolina's season is going. And all I can say is this saga is continuing to drag on. It's not getting any easier. It's clear that UNC is turning on him quickly. More reports are coming out that his exit could be as such soon, although the UNC athletic department and Belichick themselves, as of Monday, are firmly denying that they have any plans to move on from him, which, as we alluded to at the beginning of this show with the whole Penn State thing, they're just trying to save face now. Eventually, it's going to come out. I'm going to make a prediction that on the next show, we're going to be talking about a change in leadership at UNC, but that's just my overall thought on it. Let's briefly get to you before we preview Thursday Night Football to wrap up the show.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be gone. I'm surprised they didn't fire him like completely in the bye week. There was a report out also that supposedly he took a vacation week during the season.
Unbelievable.
You heard that, right?
Yeah, like, of course I did.
Mr. I don't take a vacation for anything at all.
You obviously know who probably lured him into doing that, right?
Of course.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously Jordan Hudson, the girlfriend, but which, by the way, lives rent-free. Well, we live rent-free in our head after that DM message, but
apparently, yeah.
But this whole thing is dumb. He's going to get fired. Now, there's some murkiness on how the buyout works because supposedly
there's also murkiness on like the favorable treatment thing about how like he basically brought like some of his like ex-staff over with him.
His son too.
And essentially how it's basically a boys club.
God, would his son become like the coach if he left? Like,
I don't know. That's a good question.
And then there was an allegation apparently of impermissible benefits.
Yeah, which is really weird.
Which, like, supposedly someone gave tickets and they tried to sell them, which, by the way, if you know how the college athletics work, that's a no-no. Like,
yeah, and it's someone who's gotten Comps college tickets before. There's no way of selling them. So,
because they're coded a certain way, right?
Right,
like,
they're coded a certain way to the players specifically.
So that makes total sense. But this thing is dumb. Like, can we just end the saga? Bill, go away. Go back to the media. You did good there. Go make your appearances on what's it called? Peyton and Eli's show.
On Monday Night Football.
Yeah. The Manning Cast. Go do a podcast. Like, he actually has personality when he does media.
He sure does.
Just go back to the media. Like, don't coach. Please. It's done. All right, let's go quickly recap week 6. What a terrible week we all had.
Well, I actually did pretty good.
A lot of us had bad weeks, but
yeah, I hit my lock this week. I actually did halfway decent.
I mean, some of these games, like I was ready to throw something at the TV, like because the Broncos beating the Jets only by 2 points. I don't want to hear it next week when someone says to me, "Oh, well, I knew the Jets were going to cover." No, you did not. You did not know the Jets were going to cover.
No way. Absolutely not.
I get that it's London, and Johnny says this all the time on Football Forecast, like London games are unpredictable. Really? That you're going to tell me that you thought the Broncos were only going to win by 2 points?
No way. No way.
And you predicted that Justin Fields was going to have 9 sacks,
No way. No way.
or
Absolutely.
that he broke a record of minus 10 yards in the air.
It's awful.
Like, the Broncos, first of all, the offense just petered out after the first quarter. Like, I don't know what happened. Bo Nix just looked awful after the first quarter. Both teams, it was a battle of defense, which no one expected.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a terrible game. And then I lost my lock in the Rams-Ravens game because what was there, 20 points total scored in that game?
Yeah, 17-3.
I was expecting the Rams to come out and offensively destroy.
I was so happy that I took the Patriots. I was so happy about that. Drake May looked awesome in that game too.
Yeah, that's one of the few I got. What was some? Oh, embarrassment of the week: Cowboys losing to the Panthers.
Yeah,
By the way,
that was awful.
how does Marty Schottenheimer keep a job?
I don't know. Oh, you mean
Oh no,
not Marty Schottenheimer?
God, why am I forgetting his name? I said the wrong
Brian
guy.
Schottenheimer.
Brian Schottenheimer. Thank you. I'm thinking the father. How does he keep a job? How?
I don't know. I think that last name helps.
You're probably right. And by the way, can we stop with the reports of that Dak is the offensive player of the year? Please.
No kidding.
Now, the other report, and we'll get to that in a second, was Baker being the MVP. That one I could see.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's playing phenomenal.
I mean, that game was incredible. Did you see that 14-yard run he had to convert the first down?
Yeah, that was gigantic.
I mean, like, this guy just week in, week out has finally found a home in Tampa.
Oh, well said.
And I don't know, like, people say, oh, well, he was the issue in Cleveland. No, he was not the issue in Cleveland.
It was the organization.
The organization is terrible. And I forgot, someone jokingly said this the other day that they got rid of Baker Mayfield for Deshaun Watson.
Essentially, they did.
And you're like, oops, who's the idiot now?
Yeah, no kidding.
Let's see some of the other games. Oh, the Chargers surviving barely against Miami.
Yeah, I think Mike McDaniel is going to get fired soon because that was a horrendous ending.
McDaniel's like, can we stop with
a horrible beat by the Chargers, only winning by 2.
Terrible that one frustrated me too. Can we stop calling McDaniel's McGenius? Like, he's not earned that.
He's not. No way.
It's more like McDumbass is really where he is, because this guy is supposed to be an offensive genius, right? That's like his claim, like across the NFL, that he's supposed to be able to draw up offensive schemes with no issue at all.
Right, exactly.
And this guy's not winning any games.
No, he's not.
And then Tua just went scorched earth in the post-game press conference. Like, what'd you make of that, number one?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he's frustrated. The team's frustrated. It kind of makes sense.
But for him to say that his teammates are late to player meetings, like,
it's pretty crazy.
You mentioned the Patriots. They're playing amazing football right now. Drake May looks really good.
Absolutely.
Steelers win 23-9 over the Browns. I think the Steelers are going to win the AFC North.
Probably. It's looking very much like it.
Because the Ravens are a flaming pile of shit right now. What else? Seahawks win. That was actually a really good game, by the way. Seahawks Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
Rams Ravens. They're now 1-5. Their season's over now, right?
Yep.
Disappointment too, because everyone thought they were going to win 12-13 games.
Yep.
Their defense terrible. Lamar's not healthy. But Lamar and Roquan Smith, I think, are expected back after the bye week. So
positive.
So we'll see what happens. Titans Raiders. That's
not all great. No, not great.
I think you and I had the under on this game, which hit. Like,
we were happy about that.
Yeah. Packers Bengals. This game was a disappointment if I ever saw it.
Absolutely.
The Packers only winning by 9 points, not covering. The line was large to begin at 14.5. But
Mhm.
the Packers have not looked great as late, but the Bengals are in trouble too. 49ers, Bucks. Like I said, Bucks just look amazing. Baker just looks really well right now.
I would agree with that.
Without Bucky Irving, by the way,
And still winning at home.
and still winning at home. Chiefs, Lions. I thought the Lions were going to play better. The Chiefs finally just woke up and played good football.
I was very happy with that pick. I
By
did
the way,
really well with that.
a lot of people got screwed because a lot of people took the over. The
Yep.
over did not hit.
No, it did not.
Hey fans, Novig is here to change the way you play. Available in 35 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and New York, Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market, and it's 10 times more profitable than traditional sports books because there's no house edge. Instead, you're betting directly against other sports fans just like yourself. Novig is also the only free exchange, which means you keep every dollar you win. Whether you're putting plays down on the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, college sports, or even UFC and tennis, Novig gives you the power to pick the best odds, or better yet, set your own. Sign up today with the code ETB Network, and you'll get 1,000 Novig coins plus $5 in Novig cash, and special bonus offers like spending $5 and getting $50 back. Novig, where fans play smarter. You must be 21 years or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Empty the Bench is presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience. From playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching with the commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. And now back to the show. Let's get into it. ETB Sports Odds presented by Novig. Go check us out there. So here's our Novig line for Thursday Night Football, Week 7 already. Slow it down. Football season is moving too fast.
Well, and we're getting closer to Halloween.
That's true. You're right. So Steelers are a -5.5 favorite at the Bengals. Over under 42.5. Steelers.
Yeah, I'm keeping this one simple. Steelers to cover the number at 5.5. They're the better football team right now. They're playing like the better football team at the moment.
On fire.
The way their defense looked against Cleveland was awesome. Cincinnati, they're okay right now, but you could tell that the lingering effects of no Burrow is hurting them right now. And regardless of where the game is, Ohio or Pittsburgh, Steelers should be able to win this comfortably. I think this number should be higher. Even if it was 6.5, I would still take it. Give me the Steelers.
Yeah, I like the Steelers. They're just playing good football right now. Like Aaron Rodgers is clicking on all cylinders right now, which, by the way, did you have Aaron Rodgers clicking on all cylinders right now? I certainly did not.
No, I didn't. But he's looking great, even for his age.
And by the way, DK Metcalf has been an unbelievable trade they made.
Right.
His value has shown in spades for that team. Some of those catches he made, like unreal.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, the Bengals are shit show territory. They traded for Joe Flacco, which made no sense to me whatsoever. This is like the battle of AARP at quarterback. So, yeah, I like the Steelers. This is a no-brainer. I could see them covering this all the way up to 10, almost. Like, I just think the Steelers are a much better prepared team. And the Bengals, like, their offense just looks off completely. So, there's our pick. Well, just for sake, on the over-under, where would you go?
For sake purposes, I would say over.
Yeah, I would say probably over. Because these teams are going to score. It's just a matter of who's going to score more. But yeah, I like that. Anything else before we close it up, the shop?
I don't think so. Thanks again for tuning in. As always, this was a fun episode, getting closer and closer to 300. So thanks again for the support. Looking forward to bringing you guys more sports content throughout the month of October, especially since we're getting into crossover season and whatnot. So should be a fun time. And thanks again for tuning in as always.
Yeah, as we get closer to 300, we will have a surprise for 300, hopefully now that I've been working on. But make sure you follow us on social media at ETB Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow the network at ETB Network across all social media platforms. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. We hit our subscriber goal so far of over 1,000. We're working towards watch hours. Help us get to our watch hours goal. Got to get to 4,000 watch hours. That helps our channel grow. If you can't watch on the video side, listen wherever you get your podcasts. All your favorite audio podcasting platforms, we are up and available, including, and I also forgot on the YouTube side, Playback shows are all simulcasted to YouTube as well. So go check all our shows out there as well. And our full network presented by Playback. Make sure you go check us out, playback.tv/ETB Network, 235 members. We are slowly growing that community, so please help us out as well. Whew.
Absolutely.
So that'll do it for episode 291. He's Zain Bando. I'm Nick Morgasen. We will see you back here for episode 292 next week.
Cheers, everyone. Have a good one.